Wimbledon this year certainly lived up to the hype. From players finding newfound form on grass, to a new British hero, to the thwarted quest for 25, it was definitely a week to remember. And its crowning glory? A dramatic four-setter that saw the underdog step up a level, but the defending champion hold firm and prove why he's the world number one. So let's get into it. Breakdown of exactly what went down this week on and off the court, the controversies, my tactical analysis, and our very own courtside watch party where we got to hear your guys' thoughts.
What would you say to all the people out there who call me a Jannik Sinner hater?
Yeah, you shouldn't be a hater.
Yeah, I'm not a hater. I'm really not, guys, I swear.
The second week of Wimbledon started out with like a bunch of arguments, which is pretty strange for what's supposed to be the classiest slam. It wasn't just player against player this week. Last week, I talked about Dimitrov's battle with the roof on center court, and he's not the only one arguing with the tournament ref. Sinner's round of 16 match against Mochizuki was more competitive than I think anyone expected, thanks to Mochizuki's clever point construction and his crazy slow serve, which looked like it threw Jannik off balance. I mean, one of them was just 75 miles per hour, but another factor was also the light. It hit dusk in the second set, and Jannik seemed to struggle to see the ball. But they couldn't exactly floodlight the court without the roof closed, which takes 10 minutes. Finally, at 4-all, they decided to close it. Mochizuki had just saved 3 break points and recognized he had some momentum, yet a pause would let Sinner get his bearings, refocus, and cook up new strategies to combat his net rushing. It was strange to see, but with a career high of 92, Mochizuki didn't really seem like he felt like he could argue with the Grand Slam ref and the world number one. Shame. Part of me feels like he could have maybe stolen that second set. Someone who does feel entitled to argue? Novak Djokovic. Same story in his quarterfinal with Auger-Aliassime. Only this time, the referee wanted to close the roof a full hour earlier, before light even became an issue at all. This was all going down at 7:40 p.m. at the end of the second set. Both players made their displeasure known. Look, I don't know. If both players are arguing against the decision, shouldn't they be allowed to influence it? I mean, they're the ones who are trying to see the ball as it's getting dark in the first place. This has been an issue throughout the tournament. Bizarre decisions made to the detriment of the players. Take scheduling. Center court matches started at 1:30 p.m. and the rumor is so that those in the royal box can have their lunch first. But when you've got an 11 p.m. curfew, just one 5-setter will completely mess up the rest of the day's schedule. I'm sure Zverev also wasn't too happy about his own round of 16 match. At 2-0 3-all in the third, the match was suspended, and Lehechka, he came back the next day to sweep the first 3 games and the third set before losing in the fourth. Look at this dip in quality. Not to get into conspiracy theories here or anything, but it does seem like maybe the welfare of the very elite few fans is maybe being prioritized over the players themselves. I don't want to get too much further into it beyond that, but it's definitely something that we should keep an eye on. As far as the roof goes, that's just on the tournament organizers to do better. Anticipate when it's getting dark and use common sense when it's not. It's really that simple, no? Speaking of Zverev, okay, so I'm happy to put my hands up here and say I was wrong. In a possible Fritz Zverev semi, I know who I'm backing. Zverev has broken the curse. Or maybe Taylor's knee tendonitis has come back. Given the history here, a little bit of both, I think. And I do think I was justified in my prediction. Coming into this match, Zverev's ace to double fault ratio was at 4-1. Fritz's, meanwhile, was at 13.8-1. In the quarterfinal, Zverev got that up to 7-1, while Fritz's slid to 8.5-1. Combine that with Zverev's insane serve speed, aggressive second serve return, and Fritz's hindered movement, and you could say the writing was on the wall. Zverev is just striking with so much more confidence these days. We saw it again in the semis against Britain's newest hero, Arthur Ferry. And again, I'll own it. I was pretty dismissive of the British chances this fortnight, but he did kind of single-handedly redeem an entire nation. Zverev took him apart clinically, just totally overpowering him on serve and with the forehand. Just look at the forehand shot quality. Ferry's was just at 6.4 compared to Zverev's 9.1. Ferry was averaging 7.4 across the tournament, but Zverev just didn't give him any breathing room at all. And that's the thing. Ferry's the kind of player where if you give him an inch, he'll take a mile. He ended Dimitrov's quest for redemption in a dramatic super tiebreak, one of those matches won by the smallest of margins. Dimitrov actually won 11 more points than Ferry, but as any tennis fan knows, it's about the points that matter. Ferry did play some clever defense, and he had to. He's 5'9", he can't really rely on a big serve to keep himself alive in a match. He had to get creative. Fortunately for him, that same creativity in the Dimitrov match kept on coming. He completely demolished world number 9 Flavio Cobolli to become the second ever wildcard to make a Wimbledon semi, after 2001 champ Goran Ivanisevic. Oh, and he also did it in straight sets with a third set bagel. I mean, come on. The Ferry quarterfinal was straightforward. Novak's against Auger Aliassime absolutely wasn't. One of the matches of the year for me, for sure. I knew this might be a long one when the first set took 79 minutes. That included a medical timeout for Novak for an apparent calf injury, but his movement didn't look too affected. It was his concentration that seemed to go. He won the first set in a lengthy tiebreak, but dropped the second with just 6 winners and a break sealed by a double fault. And that was when we had the roof debacle. I know Novak argued, but it didn't seem to disrupt him. Maybe the controversy even fired him up. He locked in here, went aggressive, and upped his percentages big time. Third set, Djokovic. When he got the break early in the fourth, I was already looking onto the semis, but Felix had other ideas. He broke right back, and then it was on. The tables turned, and Felix was the aggressor now, doing an unbelievable job of returning Novak's first serves. In fact, Novak won just 58% of them, which for arguably the greatest spot server of all time is crazy. So now we're at 2 sets all. Novak's level was high in that 5th set, but in the super tiebreak, it got even higher. Felix, on the other side of the net, made some costly unforced errors. His backhand shaped up to be his primary weakness in the match, and Djokovic just so happens to be famous for that same shot. But we didn't see him going into too many backhand-to-backhand exchanges throughout the match. Maybe he was wary of getting dragged into long rallies, especially with a possible leg injury. In the tiebreak, that all changed. Novak went for broke and was unrelenting, not missing and waiting for his opponent's error. Finally, he got it. Djokovic wins the match 6 minutes before curfew in the longest Wimbledon quarterfinal ever. But there's no rest for the wicked. His semifinal opponent, Jannik Sinner. This was a different Jannik Sinner. He was seen practicing on hard court a few days beforehand, going for confidence on his ground strokes, and trying to shed the natural hesitation produced on grass. It really worked for him. He came out pretty much flawless on both the serve and the return. In the first set, Novak won just 14% of points behind his second serve. The power off Sinner's racket pushed him way beyond the baseline, and that's where he was losing. In those baseline exchanges, he's usually so good at dominating. Jannik knew how to take advantage of the circumstances. Take the break in the second set, sealed with a crisp inside-out drop shot that Novak didn't even try to run for. In the end, a total masterclass. 6-4, 6-4, 6-4. 40 winners and 15 unforced errors, totally one-way traffic. As much as I hate to say it, I think we can finally put to bed the question of whether or not Djokovic will ever conquer his quest for 25. I think we can now say for sure that although Djokovic remains relatively at the top of the modern game, there's still just a level of disparity between Alcaraz, Sinner, and at this point, maybe even Sasha Zverev. First off, I gotta say it, you guys are awesome. We took over BK Backyard in Brooklyn for a Wimbledon finals watch party, and well,
As far as the people who call me a Sinner hater, do you think that's true?
No, not at all, no. You're speaking your opinion, very austere, taciturn, and no, you're just sticking to the facts, so yeah.
Sticking to the facts, that's what we try to do.
Going into it, this was shaping up to be an interesting final, whether or not you think I'm a Sinner hater. Until very recently, as we all know, Zverev had a terrible slam final record. But ever since Roland Garros, he's been playing with a lot more freedom. And then there's Jannik, still with something to prove after his early exit at the French. Both guys are big servers, but Sinner with the edge on the return, forehand, and backhand. Plus, a very healthy lead on the head-to-head. And in fact, Sinner has actually won their last 9 confrontations. But this is the new, improved Zverev, and he came out on a mission. From the very start, there was that newfound commitment on his shots, particularly off the forehand wing. Going into a match as an underdog is always a little liberating, and Zverev wasn't afraid to make a couple of errors in search of winners, averaging a forehand speed of 86 miles per hour. Because those winners came when it counted, including this massive forehand that won him the first set tiebreak, and also snapped a 14-set losing streak to Sinner. And make no mistake, that's the confidence that comes with finally getting that slam win. Sinner's forehand, meanwhile, was a little off. His topspin rates were down, and we saw some uncharacteristic errors throughout the first 2 sets. Part of that was maybe the pressure of the occasion, and part of that was the pressure of Zverev's aggression, at 36% in attack. He was taking Sinner's time away, capitalizing on the speed of the hot, dry conditions, and sending him off balance with his footwork. Nevertheless, Sinner stayed with him into a second set tiebreak, and that was when we saw things start to change. Jannik locked in and began to strike cleanly, taking his forehand quality from 8.2 to 9.6. On top of that, he was now anticipating the serve better. It was him taking the time away, and he did it to perfection. He took the set to even up the match.
Well, settle in, it's 1-set all here.
Here, as much as I hate to say it, something of the old Sasha came back. Starting out the third, he was less clinical, clearly frustrated by losing the second. The forehand improved to produce breakpoint on Sinner's serve at 3-4, and then disaster struck. Zverev slipped running for a drop shot and overextended his knee.
Superb. Zverev is down, he's pushed off, and he hurt his right knee.
It cost him his movement and that game. And when it came time to serve, he was timid, which we saw through his first serve percentage dropping. And, well, against Sinner, of course he took advantage and ran away with the third set 6-3.
That's too bad.
At this point, Jannik was in full flow. Look at these topspin forehand speeds set by set. In the fourth, Jannik was determined to stay in the driver's seat. Some of these returns, man, so good. At 3-all, he returned a 134-mile-per-hour first serve with interest, forcing the error to get 2 break points. Zverev did manage to save them with his serve, but a forehand error cost him another one, and Sinner converted it with a forehand winner. That's really the story of this match, the battle of the forehands. Zverev finally learned how to work with the low bounce on grass, but that forehand is still the first element of his game to crumble under pressure. Meanwhile, the quality from Sinner throughout the match was just unreal. Sasha made 80% of his first serves and he still lost, and it makes you wonder that maybe against anyone else, that trophy would have been his. But this is Jannik Sinner we're talking about. Jannik, well, he finished it out in style. Championship point, a crisp forehand winner, 2 minutes shy of the longest match he's ever won.
How about that?
But enough of my rambling. I wanted to get your guys' thoughts too.
Melissa, what'd you think about the match?
So incredible. Sinner, it's too good.
Miles, what'd you think of the match?
Oh, amazing match. Sinner was unbelievable. He proved himself why he's the world number 1, yeah.
Not that close, to be honest.
The men's side was such a wild ride, but the women's final had some thrilling moments too. We had another All-American clash with Pegula versus Goff, which was a great matchup. Pegula started out decisive and clean, while Goff produced a whole host of unforced errors. 17 to just 6 winners, and that cost her the opener. But Coco came back stronger and improved in the second, cutting her unforced error count to 8 in the second and 7 in the third. It was on the forehand where we saw the most improvement throughout the match, and it finally looked like she found some confidence on this surface at last. Next was Karolina Muchova, who'd already defeated an in-form Naomi Osaka in straights. It's been great to see her back from injury this year, and she dug deep in the semi, coming back from a breadstick in the second to force a third set tiebreak. And oh man, what a tiebreak. Some real edge-of-your-seat moments. At match point, 9-8, the whole court wide open for her, Coco hesitated on a drop shot and put it in the net. Karolina, well, she took full advantage. She wrestled control of the baseline on Coco's serve to close it out and set up an all-check final against Linda Noskova. Noskova's had a great week, but I did wonder if maybe the occasion would get to her. She's 21, and she's never been past the quarters of a slam. But boy was I wrong. In the first set, she totally dominated. She's had a great grass season thanks to her power-accuracy combo on her serve, and also she has a super impressive forehand. Her short takeback means she can absorb and redirect pace, and this final was no exception. She even upped her forehand speed 5 miles per hour compared to the rest of the tournament. She outdid Muchova with some fierce aggression and took the first set 6-2. Things looked like they might have turned around at 1-all when Muchova stepped in on the return to up the intensity on her own forehand and earned herself 3 break points. But with some clutch serving, Noskova escaped with the hold. A few games later, it was Linda who got the break, and I thought Muchova was done for. Then something changed. Noskova finally got nervous. Up until the point where she was serving it out at 5-3, 52% of her first serves went unreturned. Then a double fault cost her championship point, and Muchova steadied her level to get the break back, not making a single unforced error in over 10 minutes of tight, intense tennis. For context, in the first set, which took half an hour, she made 10, 1 every 3 minutes. She reeled off the next 5 games and took the match to a third. This time, it was Noskova who locked in again. She got the early break to go up 2-1, and it seemed like the forehand was firing on all cylinders once again. Muchova tried to hang on, but Noskova kept her cool. An hour and 15 minutes after her first championship point, we had a new women's champion at the All England Club. But what did our viewers at the watch party think?
For a second, I thought, she's just going to finish the game out, and then epic comeback.
2-5 to 7-5 is
2-5 to 7-5. Like,
it's an insane comeback.
So in your opinion, did Noskova choke that second set, or did Muchova just start playing lights out?
Noskova choked. If you have more than a match point, you choked it.
All worth the ticket, right? Thanks again to all of you who came out to the watch party at BK Backyard this weekend. It was so much fun, and I can definitely say we're going to be doing more of these in the future. As we've gone through these crazy content stretches around Wimbledon and the French Open as well, I can say that just each day my appreciation for you guys just watching these videos and supporting me just gets deeper and deeper. It's really what keeps me going. So stay tuned for what we have coming up on the channel here over the next few weeks and over on Open Court as well. As always, like, subscribe, and until next time, keep going for the lines.